Hello friends, I'm FIDE instructor Atul Dahale and welcome to my YouTube channel. From today, I have decided to create a series of videos which will be related to the endgame theory. Well, some of you might ask me why endgames? Well, endgames are very important in order to improve your overall understanding of the game. Well, as you get stronger in your game, you will understand that your matches will be much more stronger and you will end up in endgames. And in such endgames, if you lack the required skills to play in such endgames, then you might lose the games which you might have drawn or won if you knew the technique, or if you are playing against a very strong player, then it's very important to play precisely, and endgame is all about precision and accuracy. And we are going to start with a very simple end game, that is the pawn end game. Here I'm going to show you, but before we get to the technique how to draw in a pawn down end game, I would like to tell you that don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you are new here. So let's get started with this game or the position and understand how to draw in this end game. Well, I'm going to tell you very simple technique by which you can draw the game if you are pawn down. Okay, that is the first thing you should remember. Here, in order to draw the game, you need to follow certain principles. Okay, I will just play one move here from white side, that is d3. Maybe d3 might be one of the moves which white will play here in this position, and from here black needs to play very accurately in order to draw the game. I'll tell you, this is very easy. It's not at all complicated. All you need to do is like follow the principles which I'm going to tell you. Remember, when your opponent's king is behind the passed pawn, okay, behind the passed pawn, then all you need to do is maintain your king in front of the passed pawn in these two squares, just next to the passed pawn in just two squares. So your king is already here, then you play this move. And next thing is that if your opponent tries to come in the same line of the pawn, or if he tries to come in front of the pawn, you need to stop him. So in order to do that, when your opponent plays this move, just play your king in front of your opponent's king. That is what we call it opposition. Why are you playing your king in front of your opponent's king? Because you want to stop him coming in front of the pawn. This is very important. In the next video, I will be showing you what happens if the opponent's king is allowed to come in front of the pawn. We'll be learning that also. And one more thing is, like, if your opponent decides to wait behind the passed pawn, then as I said in the first principle, what you should be doing, you should just maintain your king in front of your opponent's passed pawn. That is what you will be playing. You will play the king to d4 square. Now he might play here. Now just maintain your king in front of your opponent's passed pawn. If he tries to come forward, we'll play this. If he gives a check, don't move anywhere else, just be in front of your opponent's passed pawn. If you place this move, just maintain your king in front of your opponent's passed pawn. These two squares are very important for us. Remember this thing. Now he might come forward, just take the opposition. Opposition means there will be one square between the two kings, and that is what the direct opposition is all about. It will stop your opponent from coming in front of the pawn. Okay, so here he might give a check. So what you need to do? Yes, we need to play king to d6 square. He might play king d4. Now maintain your king in front of the pawn. Okay, until now it was all about maintaining your king in front of the pawn and everything. But once the pawn will be moved forward to the fifth rank, the situation becomes very critical. Here you cannot afford to go anywhere else. I'll be showing you that thing also, what happens if you move your king to the different square. Okay, now this check is given. So as I said earlier, until the position where the pawn was on the fifth rank, everything was cool. But once the pawn reaches to the fifth rank, then it becomes very critical. Here, if you don't play your king in front of the passed pawn, okay, knight next to the two squares, then you might end up in a lost position. How? I'm going to show you now. Here, if you play king e8, this will be a big mistake, because your opponent's king will be the one who will be taking the opposition here. He will be coming here, and now you are forced to go here and he will push the pawn. You cannot maintain the opposition, or you cannot even go next to the pawn because there is no square left. Okay, so you must play king c7 in that case. Then your opponent will play king e7 followed by queening the pawn, next move, and you will lose the game. So it's very important to maintain your king in front of the passed pawn. That's why you should play king d8 or king d7. he might play this move. Just be sure that go straight back to the d8 square. Don't go anywhere else. King c8 is still a mistake, guys, because your opponent will play king c6. You have to play king d8 and d7, and then king e7 and king c7. The pawn will be proceeded and he will win the game. So that is not something which we want. I'll just show you. After queening, obviously we will be winning. So here in this position, it's very important to play king to d8 square. Don't go anywhere. Left or right is not allowed. You will be going there only if your opponent king tries to come in the same line of the pawn or next to the pawn. So this is the same line of the pawn. What you need to do, you should play king c8. Now he might give you a check, king d8, and if he wants to save the pawn, he must play king to d6 square. But if he plays king d6, then it will be a draw because of the stalemate, because black's king is not having any squares to go around and he is not under in check also. That's why it is a draw. I hope you understood this simple technique, like how to draw when you are pawn down. I'll just repeat the things which I already told you. When your opponent is king is behind the passed pawn, just maintain your king in front of the pawn in these two squares. If he tries to come in front of the pawn, if he comes in the straight line of the pawn, in that situation you should take the opposition by going in front of your opponent's king. And if you follow this procedure, then you will be able to draw the game very easily. So I hope you understood all the things which I talked about in this video. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. We will be meeting in the coming video with something more interesting and more complicated related to the pawn endgame. Till then, take care and goodbye.